Hello and welcome to this ATRAX 2.0 Premiere tutorial. In this guide we're going to go over Equipment Finder. So Equipment Finder is a very powerful tool within ATRAX 2.0 for finding equipment. It will allow you to search for specific things though. Say if you want to search for all of your calipers or all of your micrometers or look for everything in a certain location. You can set up criteria that will allow you to drill down a little bit more to find specifically what you're looking for. So Equipment Finder can be launched from a couple of different places. As a Premiere user, and you log in to your home screen, on your Gauge Searches tab there is an Equipment Finder link at the bottom. You can also find this from your Search Reports drop-down list in the upper right. And alternatively, you can also press Alt-F on your keyboard as a hot link option to get in there. So launching Equipment Finder is going to bring up a screen that looks like this, and what you're looking at here is two panes. You have an upper pane and a lower pane selected by movable by these little three dots. The upper pane is where you are making your criteria selections, so you're actually finding gauges, and then once you find your gauges you will drop them to the lower pane where you will interact with them. So you'll be able to double click on them to go to the equipment screen or print the certificates for them. You can do a couple of different things once it's down here. So first step is to actually get some gauges added. So in the upper part we have a simple selection and a advanced equipment selection. Simple equipment selection will allow you to search by one piece of criteria. So in this case that criteria is ID. So you have your ID right here. If I wanted to look for gauge test 100, I can start typing in test 100 and you'll see it starts to slowly drill down until it finds the gauge. If I wanted to go to that gauge, I can double click on it. It brings it to the lower pane. And now in the lower pane, I can either double click on it to open up the equipment view, or I could come up here and print the certificate for that gauge. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and double click on it. It'll take me right to that gauge. If I wanted to now go back to Equipment Finder, you can press Alt-F or launch it from any place else, and it will bring it right back up. And you'll notice that it has kept gauge test 100 down here in the bottom. So whatever you previously selected will be here again until you clear it out. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and clear it out. So I'm going to click the double up arrow, and it's going to clear out my search. So now I am back to a base level search again. In the top part, there is a section for company and a little checkbox here for all companies. Most Premiere users only have access to one location, but if you are a Premiere user who has access to multiple company locations, you are going to want to make sure that this box is checked when you are performing your searches. Otherwise, it'll only search for the location that is in the company drop-down list. But if you have this checkbox checked, it will find everything. If you want to look for everything, like all of your gauges, we have a List All button here as well. So if I wanted to list all of the Mike's Lab gauges, I can click that and it will bring them all up here, and then I can select individual ones and drop them down to the lower pane, or if I wanted to drop all, I can click the double arrow and it will drop them all. So say if I wanted to download a certificate for these gauges, I can go to the upper right hand corner here and we have print selected equipment. So I can print these certificates, and I can either choose to print all of the equipment or just things that I have highlighted. If you print all, it will download the most recent calibration certificate for all of this equipment in one nice zip file for you. So that is a good option to just kind of see all of your certificates at one time. If I wanted to search by something besides ID here, such as serial number or description, I can do that by simply clicking on the column header that you want to search by. Let's say, do you want to search by serial number? You'll see that it has changed ID to serial number up here. If I want to search by description, I can change it to description and launch my searches that way. Moving over to the advanced equipment selection, this is where you can get a little bit more granular with your searches. So if you're looking for something specific, like all of your calipers, or if you're looking for a specific location, you can enter that type of criteria here. So we see it already defaults to company is exactly Mike's Lab. Again, if you have multiple company locations, you might even want to remove this field right here. That way it's not looking under one specific location. It would look under all. In this case, I'm just looking under Mike's Lab. But I would click here to add a condition. And if I want to look for my equipment type of caliper, I could type in equipment type. Contains caliper. If I click this little clock icon, it's going to give me an idea of how many records this criteria is going to meet. So you can see here it's going to bring 32 records if I choose to pull this list, which I'm going to go ahead and do. So I click the double down arrow right here, and it will pull all 32 of those gauges. And we see we have pulled just all calipers, so it has not pulled my entire gauge list, just the things that have been identified as caliper in the equipment type. So that is kind of how you can drill down to find very specific things. From here, you can right-click and export this list to Excel, to PDFs. There's all sorts of things that you can do with the data once you've got it dropped down there. If you have any questions on this or anything else equipment finder related or ATRAX 2.0 related, feel free to forward them over to me at mike@atiquality.com, and I will help you any way I can. Thanks.